Okay, so this is the first hand of the sit and go here. 6 max hyper. These are my stats on these guys. I like to do the replay through the universal replayer, but go over my stats on these guys quickly. So panning here, Alex Snowpan, and yeah, just those two. Those two are randoms to me. It's very likely I didn't have any hands on them at the start of the sit and go, so be playing extremely straightforward against them. Against randoms, I do like to push a lot of the times any 2 cards against them blind versus blind unless I see that they're, I don't know, doing something like significantly weird. In which case that might change that. But against randoms, typically you're going to have a profitable any 2 card shove because they're just not going to be calling wide against blind versus blind once you get down to 10 effective or less than that. And then in some spots where I've got like 5 big blinds and it's not a profitable like an Ashy Calibria shove against a reg. So you have 2-3 offsuit against random fish. I will be shoving that because you're going to have a lot more fold equity against that. For the reg, Sip and Chris, I think he's on the leaderboard. He's, I guess a pretty good reg. I'm just going to pause. As you can see here, I do have some specific notes on him. So there's a few times where he 3-bet me really small, and then I rejammed over the top of him, and he folded. With 15 big blind stacks. Clearly, like he sees me as a reg, so he's calling me loose against me with 10 big blind shoves. He called king it off blind versus blind. He does seem like fairly 3-bet happy, especially against steals. So definitely be stealing later against him, and also having to call later. Like if I've got something like ace 9 suited on the button, I very likely just have to raise call against him because he's 3-betting so wide. Again, he also 3-bets small on flops. Like he plays kind of weird. I know I've got him and I always get him and one other reg mixed up, so I always have to check my notes. Him and what's his name? Something good. I always get those two mixed up. I think they're both on the leaderboard, but they both do stuff that's just different than normal regs. That's probably why they're having success, is because you have to do different things than most people to get success. But anyways, those are my reads against him. Like pretty much not giving any of his 3-bets like respect that I would for other regs because he's 3-betting very wide and he just does some weird things. So if he's doing something weird, it's probably bullshit or like the absolute nuts. So just kind of have to put it in and close my eyes against him in some spots. And then Ultra John and I'll Noblel, can't really say that. I don't have any specific reads on these guys. Like clearly you can see here I've got my fold 3-bet stat. It turns green if it's over 80%, which is just extremely exploitable. So Ultra John, I'm going to be looking to 3-bet him fairly wide. Even Noblel here with a fold 3-bet of 73% or 75%. Like that's just pretty high as well. Like I mean, most regs have a super high 3-bet, folded 3-bet. You can see mine's 75% too. I'm actually trying to decrease. I need to be calling against certain regs a lot wider than I am. Or, well, the way to reduce your fold to 3-bet is to either open up tighter, like just don't steal any 2 cards against somebody with like any decent sort of 3-betting range, because that's just going to skyrocket your fold to 3-bet. If you're opening a super wide range and then you're getting 3-bet all the time, of course you're going to have a high fold to 3-bet because you just have to fold the majority of that range. So that's one way to decrease your fold to 3-bet is to just open tighter. The other way that to decrease it is, of course, to call wider against 3-bets. So those are 2 things that I always try to work on. I like to try and balance my ranges to not be exploitable. 75% folded 3-bet is pretty exploitable, and again, something I'm trying to work on. Like, even Jack Queen here, against 2 regs in the blinds, you can see Sipping Christ is a 14% 3-bet stat, and I've got notes on him that he 3-bets wide. This is a hand that you can't call a 3-bet with if he 3-bets all in against you, just because you're not going to have enough equity against his range. So this is a spot where it would actually be better just to fold. I probably raise it in game because this is normal steal for me to min raise steal, because against a fish on the button I'll be able to just c-bet against him most of the time and take it down. But against a reg like Sippin Christ in the big blind, he's going to be 3-betting like pretty wide against me because I've got a high fold to 3-bet. So this is a spot where it might be better just to fold. Again, as I'm probably still going to raise it if it folds to me. I should, because, well, I shouldn't, but I should normally if I'm against any person that doesn't have a pretty high 3-bet, because this is just going to be a pretty profitable steal spot. Anyways, so those are my reads. Again, the 2 fish, Sippin Christ, like pretty high 3-betting reg, and then the 2 other regs that I'll be looking to exploit that just probably mass table a lot and don't really seem to be super high thinking players. Like, as you can see, Ultratron's pretty tight, super high fold to 3-bet. His raise first in is actually like fairly low compared to normal regs. Most regs have anywhere between like 35 to 45% RFI. So I'm actually surprised that he has such a high fold to 3-bet. That's probably super exploitable, because he's probably folding hands like ace 10 to 3-bets in the early stages, even to people with like very high 3-bets like me and Sippin Christ. So it's going to be extremely exploitable. And then again, I'll know about like he's pretty solid stats. Probably won't be able to like exploit him super hard, but just play straightforward against him and get in flips and hope to win. And then against the 2 fish, just like I said, play looser against them because they're going to be folding more as far as your shoves go, and then also try to be min raising a little tighter because they call a lot, even if they do have a high fold to c-bet. You can see, I mean, this is probably a very small sample size, 0 out of 1 and 0 out of 1, so they both have 0 fold to c-bet, so it's probably out the window. But anyways, those are my reads, and we'll get to the replay now. So again, Jack Queen here. Looks like I just folded again. Pretty, like, it's a good steal spot with Jack Queen. This is a spot that I do miss if I'm playing too many tables. Again, against Sippin Christ, it might actually be just correct to fold it, but I wouldn't be 100% opposed to min raising there. And as you can see, the fish limps on the button, which is, obviously a super strong play, and you should do that to give me money. And Sippin Christ, because again, he's just a maniac, he's going to isolate, and he really tries to eke out tons of value from every single spot. And of course, it gets called, probably c-bets take it down. Oh no, that's right, he's got a 0% fold to 3-bet, so misplay by Sippin Chris. Sippin Chris could be on a super wide range here. Penning obviously probably just has any pair. It's difficult to put them on a range. If I'm Sippin Chris here, I'm definitely value betting any ace. Probably shutting down or trying to get to a cheap showdown with a 9 or a 5. And yeah, that's pretty much the only way you can really play against a fish that's just not going to be folding. You have to value bet thinner, and then also not value cut yourself or try to bluff them because they're just never folding. So he bets 100. Actually, I want to talk about sizing. So the 3x raise here, that's good. Again, you're probably getting called all the time, so it's nice. Like, it might even be better just to min raise here so that you take the initiative, and then you can c-bet very profitably most of the time on flops and cheaply. Whereas if you raise to 60, you're committing like a very large portion of your stack raising to 60 and then c-betting, because again, the pot is 142 going to the flop. You're c-betting, and then if you get called, you pretty much don't have much flexibility as far as bluffing or trying to push them off of a hand if you don't have anything, and you're just not going to have anything, 66% of the time whenever there's a flop. So, but it's not a huge issue. Again, I'd probably prefer something smaller, like 40 or 50 or 55, just so that you have more flexibility on the flop. Unless you've got a strong hand, then of course you want to raise. You just do whatever you can to get money in against the fish. So again, here he c-bets for less than half pot, which I like. Again, stacks are so shallow, you typically want to be betting smaller all the time with all of your ranges, because people just aren't able to call profitably, because again, the stacks are just so shallow that if you c-bet any bigger than this with your range, you're going to be pot committing yourself and just wasting way too many chips. Like if you see bet 110 here, it's just, in my opinion, it's a huge mistake. Unless, of course, you have an ace and you're just trying to get value from the fish. But if you have nothing here, like if you have a flush draw or pretty much anything besides an ace here, you want to be c betting smaller. It's not going to affect what they call with. Like you could even c bet. Well, c betting 50 here is a little ambitious, but 70 is a good sizing. You know, half pot, maybe even a little less than half pot. My default is 45% of pot. So I like the sizing here, and of course gets called by the fish because he never folds.